Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So, working more on main link in the center, closing in on 80% done. Yeah, we're totally done with Goron link now. Because we're working on Link's arm, which again is very purpley because it's in shadow, but I've learned to trust this pattern. Even if the shadowy side looks very dark and purple, it will look okay once it's done. So some big blocks of color here, so I think we'll get a fair amount done today. This is the bottom right here, so I'm gonna get a fair amount filled in. It's always nice when we're on the last pass. You can really see it come together and start hitting all those zeros. Got a zero yesterday, I think, or the day before, so yeah, we are getting there. Fair number of threads here, but as we're getting to the bottom, we're going to start ending those off pretty soon. Oh, pardon me. Oh. Yeah, my husband didn't wake me up with snoring last night, but he did for a couple of nights in a row, so I'm still catching up with that. Oh. Yeah. 38, 37. Okay. Yeah, I could have sort of carried to the next one up here, but it's kind of borderline, so I decided I wouldn't. Okay, back to that first color I did. Hopefully this thread will be long enough to do all of those. I think it will be. And then as you can see, I've got a whole whack of L symbol stitches there. So I may go and do some of those now. And then again, break up the big blocks with confetti stitch. Okay. Those three. So let's see what we've got up here. Oh, actually, I have to do, yeah, a few more of this color up here. Yeah, so I was right saying that all the light in this picture comes from the fairy. The more of the picture that gets stitched, the more obvious that is. When you back up and look at the whole thing. Actually, I'm gonna do this one up here and then park it further down. So I've got a few of this color parked. I think this one's really short. Yeah, it's enough for just the one stitch. This one's not that much longer, so I think we'll end it off after doing these, unless it will reach to those 2 stitches over there. We'll see. Yeah, actually, I think this will. Yeah, be just enough, but not unthread it because it's short and I won't get to it for a while. Okay, so let's do some of this big section here. Managed to grasp the needle there. Yeah, it was so nice the other day. I was getting the mail and got a condolence card from the vet and some little cards with Miss Buster's paw prints on them, which I totally didn't know they were going to do because the vet place had a service that you could like have casts made of your pet's paw print and stuff like that so that you could have a little, you know, memorial keepsake, and we didn't pay for that, so yeah, it was really nice of them. They made some little paw prints of her for us to remember her by, so yeah, it was really sweet. Reminded of her every time I have to prepare some vegetables because, pardon me, she always liked the peels or the seeds or, yeah, the scraps. We always saved them for her. So, yeah, it's kind of odd to not be doing that anymore. Like, my son loves bell peppers. He eats them almost every day, and our guinea pig absolutely loved the seeds. That was her favorite thing to eat. So yeah, it's weird to be just chucking those seed clusters in the compost now. Yeah. Yeah, that was her favorite thing. She never got bored of it. It was funny actually because one time there was a pepper in there. They didn't really have any seeds in it for some reason. And so I just gave her the pepper, and she was just sort of, I put it in front of her. She's sort of standing there looking at it back and forth like, but where are the seeds? That's my favorite part, you know? And then after about half a minute of looking for them, she started eating the actual pepper. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Or when she was younger and healthier and still climbed up her ramp to her little perch, I gave her the little seed center, and she picked it up and sort of tried to wave it around. They do that for some reason. I don't know why. And it rolled down the ramp, and then she was standing there like, wait, what happened to it? Where'd it go? I had to pick it up and give it to her, yeah. Yeah, like I said, she was a rescue, so it was really nice that she felt, you know, safe around us after a while to be picky with her food. Yeah, like first month we had her, she didn't purr. Yeah, she barely let us touch her. She was like, they're all pretty skittish, but she was really skittish. Yeah. Like my husband's parents like to keep guinea pigs, and when we visit them, yeah, they usually, pardon me, they won't let me pet them because they don't know me. Yeah. There was one that would sort of let me sort of just one finger pet her head, but that was it. And you had to move really slowly or she'd take off. Yeah. Yeah, I called my sister-in-law the guinea pig whisperer because they, none of them were scared of her. And yeah, she took one home from the pet store because he was the runt of the litter and nobody wanted him, poor little guy. And his litter mates, they had, you know, bit at his fur and little patches were coming out, poor little thing. So she took him home, and yeah, she fed him this like pet rescue stuff that's meant to fatten them up really fast. And yeah, his fur grew in all thick and glossy, and he was so healthy by the time, you know, she had pampered him. So yeah, she thought maybe he was what they call a werewolf skinny, where they kind of, their fur is very wiry and doesn't grow in all places. It can be kind of patchy. But no, it was just that he hadn't been given the TLC he needed. And once she did, yeah, he was, yeah, his fur was actually much nicer. It was all thick and glossy. It was a little more wiry than our piggies, which was very soft, but yeah, he was way healthier than he appeared that he would be when she first brought him home. Yeah, she named him Maximus. It was funny too because guinea pigs, they popcorn when you pet them, when they're happy. It's when they jump in the air. So like little, you know, kernels of popcorn bouncing kind of thing. That's why it gets the name. And when he would popcorn, he would actually kind of go fling from side to side like a little shovel. And it would sweep stuff out of his cage and send it flying. It was so funny. Yeah. She had a pet bunny too, and all the guinea pigs loved the bunny. They would love to follow her around. Yeah, when we went on holiday for a while, so we left Miss Buster with her. She sent me a video of them playing. Yeah, Bunny was hopping around and Buster was following her. It's pretty cute. Yeah, they say you usually need to have at least 2 guinea pigs because they're social creatures and they'll get lonely. But our piggy was unusual. She generally didn't want other piggies around. We tried putting her with my sister-in-law's guinea pig and they immediately started fighting, so that didn't work. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, our piggy lived for so long. So yeah. she was the exception to the rule, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna decide if I want to do, I've got a really short piece. Yeah, so that one stitch that's kind of separated from these others, I think I'll do with its own thread later. Just trying to decide whether I wanted to do that, do it out of order, or park it here and then fill in all this other stuff from the top. So there's several ways I could have done it. So I think I'm going to park this and switch to another color for a bit of a break. Pardon me. Oops, this piece is so short, I lost a hold of it. Yeah, will it be enough for these stitches or not? Maybe one short. I hate when that happens. We shall see. Table's making that weird squeaky noise again. Not really sure why. I think I will just manage, yeah, to get one last stitch out of it. Might be a while till I get there, so I'm not going to leave it threaded because I'm going to do a bit more. Back to this big block here. Make sure I grab the correct thread. Oh, goodness. I tell you, my aim is really off today. Yeah, so I said 85 by the end of the month, and I think that's definitely doable. Maybe even 90, we'll see. Which means, yeah, should definitely be completed in May. And then we will switch to Marvelous Garden, the peacocks. that I started, haven't done much on. Okay. Take a break. Yeah, pretty soon I'll be moving my frame again. Hard to believe. I'll be right at the center of this last pass. Because we're at, what, this is row 70 and the center is 125. So it's not that far away. Yeah, so my husband was going through digitizing our old videos from when our kiddo was little because, yeah, we didn't have smartphones yet. So we had our video camera had tiny little discs in them that it burned the thing on, and those do degrade over time. So yeah, my husband was backing them up into digital files as well. And I was saying, man, you know, there were so many videos of, well, it had the little piece that comes out at the side to show you what you're filming, so you don't have to look through the eyepiece of the camera. And he always wanted it turned to himself so he could look at himself. I'm like, nobody wants to watch you watching yourself, right? He was like a toddler, but he was fascinated by it because, of course, unlike a mirror, there was a delay, right? He'd move and it would have to be processed by the camera and then put onto the little screen. So yeah. So to the people watching the film, it's just him, you know, like doing stuff, moving his hand in front of his face and stuff. But to him, it was fascinating because, yeah, the delay was different than a mirror. So yeah, it's funny. It was like all the time I had to, if I wanted to catch him doing something on film, I'd have to like come from the hallway and like sneak up on him so he wouldn't see me, because otherwise, yeah, then he'd just want to look at the camera. And it's like, oh. That wasn't what I was trying to film. I was trying to film you doing something cute, you know? Oh, it's funny. Yeah, it's like you forget how little they were, you know? Oh, it was so funny the other day. I was heading off to bed and he scared the heck out of me because he came out of the darkness in the hallway towards me, and I didn't see him till he was like right about to bump into me. But what scared me the most was that he's almost as tall as his dad now. So for half a second, I thought it was his dad, and then I was thinking, okay, but how can you be there when I just left you in another room? You know, how can you be here and there at the same time? So scared the heck out of me, which scared the heck out of my kid. And yeah, it was so funny. Then we're just standing there laughing at each other because, yeah, we both got so startled. And then, you know. Oh. Yeah, it was weird to me for a while too that once our son got bigger, I couldn't tell from the sound of their footsteps who was coming up the stairs sometimes. Yeah, it took some getting used to. Because, yeah, I used to be able to tell when kiddo was a lot smaller, but yeah. Now it's not always possible. Okay. Draw this along the back. Even though there are dark colors there, but yeah, sometimes I just choose to do that. Okay, so let's finish off this color. It's funny though, like when our son was really little, and my husband said it was summer, so, you know, we left his window open so it could cool down in his room. And then my husband went in to close it before we went to bed. And he said our son was kind of sleepwalking, and he stood up in his crib, and my husband didn't hear him get up. So he turned, you know, he comes in and kiddo's lying down asleep, and he turns around and he's standing there staring at him with, you know, the wide-eyed sleepwalking stare. He doesn't say, I just about had a heart attack. It's like every horror movie ever, right? Oh my goodness. Come here. Drop my needle onto my tissue paper there instead of onto my needle minder. Okay, so start another one of this color. Then I'm gonna head back up a bit this diagonal and then fill in downwards. That one, and I'm going to do this one because then I have to park one stitch over to the right. I don't want to close anything in, so I'm going to have to fill in some other stuff before I can carry on with this color. And of course that again breaks up that big block so I don't get arm pain, don't get repetitive stress pain. Okay, all right, well, I can do a single confetti stitch at the bottom. Close to the edge here, so I'm gonna draw these along the back instead of pin stitching it and making sure that my ends point in towards the center. Okay, so back up a few squares. this was the super short piece. Just barely enough to get one last stitch and tie it off. Couch is getting very saggy where I sit. It's probably time to replace it at some point. Yeah, had these, oh boy, I'm trying to think when we got these, like 2004? Yeah, I had to buy covers for them because they were getting pretty worn out, but I figure they still work, so yeah, I'm very cheap to replace things unless it's absolutely necessary. My winter boots, both the zipper pulls broke off, so now they just have paper clips threaded into them. Because the zippers themselves still work, so yeah, I'm going to keep wearing them until they fall apart. Okay. Ooh, pardon me. Ugh. Goodness. It's wild though sometimes how it's cheaper to replace things than fix them. So my husband was talking about when my car needs new tires, he's gonna replace the rims too because they're really damaged at this point. And well, actually he wanted to just get them fixed, and to get them fixed is like $400 per rim, and to replace them is less than half that. Like, go figure, you know? I don't know what it's like throwing stuff away, but yeah, it's ridiculous when it costs more to repair something. Yeah, for a long time looking into, again, like reupholstering the couches costs more than new couches. Like, it's wild. Well, problem with these couches too is my husband insisted on buying the white ones. They're white microfiber couches, so it would match the living room. I was like, it was on sale, but they had some chocolate brown ones, and I'm like, let's get those at least, you know, not white. But no, he insisted on the stupid white. And yeah, of course, it looked gray and gross, like, within a couple of years. And this was before we had any kids, but we were planning on having kids. So I said, you know, white couches with kids, that's just a bad idea all around, you know. But, so, yeah. Yeah, our couch downstairs is black, and so it still looks fine, even though it's even older than the ones here in the living room. Oh, that couch, though, was a nightmare. So my husband, he renovated our entertainment room, and then we went to put the couch in afterwards. Well, it's one of these big overstuffed ones, and you can take the seat cushions off, but the back is like these two big stuffed padded flaps, and you can't remove them. So they make it really fat, and oh my gosh. I thought we were going to have to cut a hole in the drywall to get that. We managed to finally wrestle that couch in there. And we said, yeah, it's never coming out of that room again. Said if if we sell the house, it's coming with the house. You know, if somebody wants to take it out of that room, they're probably going to have to cut it in half. Yeah, or getting it into the house was fun too. Had to take the door off the hinges to, yeah, because it's almost too wide for most doors. So had to like wrap it in plastic and take the door off the hinges just so you could really sort of, you know, the plastic gave it just enough slip that you could squeeze it through, but boy, it wasn't fun. Yeah, it's a nice, comfortable couch. Like I said, it's so old. I think we bought it when we were engaged. So it's, yeah, older than our marriage. So, and we've been married 21 years. So, but, yeah, and it's still going strong. Wish I could just get another of those because, yeah, it's pretty comfortable and it hasn't sagged at all. Like, so it keeps its shape, but it's not too firm. Yeah, it's like kind of that perfect sweet spot. But we actually got it for pretty cheap because it was discontinued at the time and it was like the last one they had. And I think it might have been their floor display model too. So it was like, yeah, like 70% off or something. So yeah. I was a college student at the time, so we didn't have much money. So it was like, yeah, anything that was that cheap, yoink, we took it. Yeah, same with our coffee table and end table set was their last one display model. So it had a couple of little nicks in it. And one of the legs was a little bit wobbly, which my husband was able to fix, you know, by tightening a couple of screws. So yeah, it's definitely a good deal. Okay, 38, 34. Okay, so now I can do more of that one I parked earlier, now that I've filled in the stitch above it. It will not close it in anymore. Oops. Let's try to get everything actually inside the envelope. Falling all over the place. Okay. So I do a couple more rows and then same thing. I'll have to start filling in again. Yeah, so in my next diagonal, I'll have a bit more confetti because of working on the Mask of Truth. There's a fair amount of detail on it. Oop. There's a blue end there. Yeah. There we go. Just got pulled into the purple there and it would look funny. So just fix that. We're at 79.5% exactly. Yeah, so we have less than 10,000 stitches to go because we're past the 38,000 stitch mark and there's 48,000 total. So yeah, woohoo, really on the home stretch there. Yeah, I think I calculated and I can do about 10 to 15,000 stitches a month, depending sort of, yeah, how much confetti versus big blocks, how much time I have to stitch. Plus I swap between a couple projects, so there's that too. It doesn't all go into one project. Okay, and then this was the one I decided to do a single thread there, just one of my really short bits. Yeah, perfect. So I didn't go out of order, plus this gives me a chance to use up one of my teeny little leftover pieces. Okay. Unfortunately, no leftover scraps. So I'll have to start a whole new thread for one stitch, but oh well. Sometimes that's just how it works out. Goodness. Oh dear. I actually pierced that, yeah, thread there, instead of going through the loop, which is what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay. That's why it wouldn't slide all the way to the end, because it had pierced through that thread. That just will not work. So all that for one stitch of this color. So yeah, we still have snow on the ground. It's funny because our neighbor who used to live next to us, he sold his place and moved to be closer to his grandkids. But when he did live there, he would get so impatient. He would always take his snowblower to the snow that was on the lawn to like kind of break it up, because it gets quite compacted, you know, over the winter. But the funny thing is, his snow wouldn't actually melt much faster than ours, like maybe a couple of hours. So my husband was always, oh, why does he do that? He tears up his grass with the snowblower, and it doesn't really get it to melt any faster. He said, honestly, if you really want it to melt quickly, you chuck it in the sun, in the rain gutter, you know, on the concrete, because, yeah, it really reflects the sunlight, and that'll make it melt quicker. Because that's a problem is our neighbors across the street, their snow always melts first because of the way the sun hits it. Our front lawns are more in shade for most of the day. So, yeah. So they always get to see their grass before we get to see ours. Ooh. Okay, so looks like I have to go way up here for a bit. Yeah, I'll do some bigger sections and then do some more smaller bits later on. a lot of black here. We did last session, we did a lot of black. And we'll probably do a fair amount this time too. Okay. So those three there. This time of year is pretty nice. It's getting to be nice and sunny, but not too hot. I could still, you know, bake bread and stuff without getting my house too warm. Yeah, I always try to see how long I can hold off starting the air conditioning when summer gets here. Oh, actually, I'm gonna do this one here in the corner as well. That way I can continue with that asterisk color and not close anything in. This one will be set aside for a while, I think, until I start coming down from the top again. So yeah. All right, a bunch of black here. I think I got like 300 stitches done last session because there was so much big blocks. That was quite nice. Try to mark each row as I do it so I don't miscount. There's big areas like this. Yeah, if I stitch a whole bunch without marking them off, I can get myself mixed up, and I don't want that. just enough for this row, I think. Yeah, from looking at the mock-up, I wouldn't have guessed that all this area was black. But like I said, this finding that the it's stitching up a little bit darker in shade than the mock-up, but it does look good. I'm happy with it. Or at least the mock-up that was on the Etsy website, not the mock-up in Pattern Keeper, looks pretty close. Yeah, they're pretty accurate. All right, let's see if this is enough. Well, probably not if it's going to act like that. We shall see. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, this will be enough for 3, and I'm going to have to, once again, add some more thread. Gives me a place to use up this leftover bit. There. So sometimes the edge of my diagonal ends up quite straight, just the way it works out. Look at that, I have 111 of this left. 111. So, be one less in a minute. Oh, and now I've completed 222 stitches, so now it's 222. Goodness. Not right in the middle of my pin stitch. There. color again. Stop wiggling around like that. The tablet is getting old and yeah, not quite working as well as it used to. Okay. for this color, yeah, we're gonna have 2 threads diverging from each other, kind of branch off in separate directions, so. One already attached up there? No, I don't. Okay, so need 2. No, don't do that. There we go. Splitting the fibers there of my floss, which I don't want. Okay, so. These 2. Oops, this one. Okay, so. Actually going to park it in that very last one at the bottom there. Because I haven't decided which direction I will go with this thread. Depends on the other thread coming down that way, whether I will take this up and then back down or just go straight down. So. This way it kind of leaves the possibilities open and I won't have to undo anything if I decide to go in a different direction. So park that there, and then back up here for the other thread of this color. So I pulled 2. Okay. Right there, and almost felt like there might be a knot on the other side, but there isn't. So just wanted to check that. Okay, now this color. Ooh. Oh, sorry. Oh, goodness. I swear, I don't even feel that tired. Just can't stop yawning. Oh. Okay. To that color. So I have to fill in quite a lot before I can go back to the black there. Okay, so all that just so I could do black again. Okay. To another row. And then park. Or tie off, it all depends. We're at 79.79%. Okay, so switch colors again. Yeah, we're now at 79.8. Closing in on that 80%. Yeah, got over 300 done this session too. It's less than like 40 stitches, I think, to reach 80%, so how about we go for that? Or no, maybe it's more than that. I don't know. Don't ever count on my math. My math skills suck. Oh dear. Oh, that should be 3 from that grid line. Okay. Oh, I wonder if this is like sort of an area between his arm and like his side there. This is like the background showing through. Because this is the, yeah, the color of a lot of the background. So I guess we'll see. Goodness. I'll try to go down in the correct spot there. Ooh, goodness. Ugh. more than 40 stitches then, because yeah, like I said, I couldn't math. 0.1% would be like 48 stitches, so I had more than that left. Like I said, don't count my mental math. It's not. It's not very reliable. Ooh. Okay. Did all that just so I could do all of these 5 in a row. That aside for a while. You could really see the progress we made today. Like all of this got filled in. Like all of this here, yeah. Like I said, bigger blocks of color. They zip right by. It can be very satisfying. It's like they can seem kind of boring to stitch, but they're very satisfying in that, yeah, you can really see the progress as it fills in quite quickly. whoops. I highlighted it. Oh, sorry, bonking my camera there. Not very smart of me. Highlighted it, but I forgot to stitch it. That would leave me confused later. Yeah, wondering why those are colored in on my pattern, but not stitched in on my project. So shall we stitch to 80% even? It's getting pretty close to that. We'll see. Hopefully my camera won't run out of recording space there. Just double check I'm parking that correctly. Oh, well. Thread is not still in the needle. That won't do me much good, will it? So yeah, I like to do a cross check with my grid lines. Helps me ensure I am parking correctly. Okay, once again, no scrap pieces left, so start a whole new piece for one stitch. Yeah, we only have 8 stitches of this left, so. But I am betting that we're not going to get a 0 soon because they're probably scattered throughout. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're way over at the bottom in the right. So yeah, I was correct. We will not get a 0 for a while. Have to attach another piece of thread. This is not going to be enough for this whole area here. What I'm actually going to do right now is park this for the moment. Then I'm going to stitch these and yeah, deal with this thread. So I'm thinking this other one that I parked earlier, of this one down here, it's long enough that I can do sort of all these 5, and it's closer to reach from that strand than from this strand. So I'm going to do these 6 here that I've highlighted and tie this strand off. So yeah, that is why I decided earlier to park it, even though I could have done that stitch it's parked in, because I wasn't sure what direction I was gonna take that thread next. So that is why I did that. And I'll add some more black in here later on too, but I know this will be filled in with black, so we'll cover up that purple, even if it is a fairly dark color. Won't be a problem. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's see if all of these heart stitches here will take us to 80% or not. We'll have to stop and add a new thread pretty soon. Use the away thread method here. Yes, I don't think I'd need to use up a whole piece, so I can use up this leftover pieces that I had from earlier. I think we'll still need a few more stitches after we're done this color. This will probably take us to like 79.99. So. Yeah, I was right. It's definitely more than 40 stitches. It was more like 80 something stitches, because yeah, like I said, I couldn't math. Oh, let's see. This might be enough to push it over that edge there. We shall see. 4 more stitches. It'll be very close, because like 4.8 stitches is like the 0.01%, and there's 4 here, so it'll be this or in a couple of stitches more. Yeah, darn. So close, but not quite. So I'm betting if we do these 3, that should take us to 80%. I think that is where we will quit for the day. At close to 400 stitches, it was a very productive session. Yeah, like I said, like all of this got filled in, so yeah. Getting close close to the edge here. So instead of the pin stitch, I'm gonna thread this along the back. And 80% even. Okay, perfect. Cool. All right, we will call it a day there. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.